In this week's episode of the podcast, we are going to be talking about going from average to excellent, what it takes to get there, why should we be excellent. One of the tips right now that I can give you for sure is that your confidence will skyrocket. Your inner belief will be through the roof. Why? Not because you're comparing yourself to others, not because you're going to be better than others, but because you know deep within your heart that you're doing everything that you possibly can to improve the life that you have now. That you're not just you, but everyone in your life, all those that you love, their lives are going to improve. Your relationships are going to improve. Why? Because you're choosing to be better than the day you were before.
So tune in.
Let's go. Hello and welcome to the 2D podcast. I'm your host, Adonis Pereira, and I'm joined, as always, by my lovely cohort, Iana Giselle.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going, Iana?
I'm doing well. Acting a fool, but I'm good.
That's what I'm talking about.
How are you?
That's the way to live life. I'm doing well, stuffed, and so good. If we're talking about excellence on the podcast, we have to discuss why. Why even do it? Why does it matter? Right? Because a lot of people, sometimes when you see like a character development, like you can become a better person type of motivational reel, let's say on Instagram, 9 out of 10 people are going to scroll right past it, right? Because it's like, why am I don't care about that. I want to have a good life. I want to enjoy my life. I'm already working at a good paying job. I'm working out, every now and then. So I'm not in terrible shape. But it's like, why would I care to be excellent? And it's not that they don't want to be excellent, but it's, I got more important stuff. I got family, I got friends, I got loved ones, whatever.
Right.
Excellence is not just a career. It's not just in your career. Excellence is not just in your profession. Excellence is in anything that you do. If you're a husband, why not be an excellent husband? If you're a father, why not be an excellent father? If you're a son, why not be an excellent son? If you're just a boyfriend or a girlfriend, why not be an excellent one? Why not just be an excellent individual and not being just average? Why? Because you live a different type of life. There's some insecurities, doubts, and just thoughts overall negative that you get when you're just being average. For example, when I started to operate in a mindset of excellence, not doing excellent things, but just understanding that I could be a lot more, that I haven't been giving 100% in everything that I do. And then when I started to tweak that a little bit, I started to see that all those little insecurities and doubts didn't creep in as much because I was so focused on becoming a better version of myself.
Right.
That I didn't have time to entertain thoughts of like, oh, I wonder what they think about me when I walk in the room, or I hope I don't mess up today in anything that I do, especially as a teenager, you know what I mean?
Right.
We're always walking into rooms. We're always thinking other people are better than us. And then we're just like cautious and nervous and not wanting to rock the boat. And because why? Because we're not thinking of anything other than us.
Yeah.
But when you're operating in excellency, you're thinking of of course, you're thinking of improving yourself, but improving your relationships, improving your grades, improving the attitude in your work environment. It only takes one person to shift the whole ambience of a room, whether that be in work, at your household, wherever. If you're operating in excellency in terms of wanting to be the best version in that moment that you can be.
Yes, I love that you said that, because one of the advice that we got from one of our meetings at work was be the thermostat in the room and not the thermometer. Meaning you set the tone
exactly
for the room that you're in.
Right. Not just reading it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's any room that you walk into.
Exactly.
Like, where are you right now?
Exactly. And I love that because I really want to help the people that sometimes feel like they don't have a purpose, you know? And I get it. When you ask someone, you know, what's your purpose? It's hard to define exactly what your purpose is, because then you don't think about the benefits and what that will bring you. You think about, oh, what's my purpose? You think about restriction. What am I going to dedicate my whole life to? And you don't want to do that. You don't want to just stick to one thing that you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Right.
Because that sounds pretty boring.
Yeah.
But once you're doing it at a high level, you're like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
But you don't,
everything.
You don't go from not wanting to restrict yourself to one thing to being the best ever at one thing.
Right.
How do you know?
There's levels.
Where's that gap? You know, it's a big gap that you're gonna take, and it really does stem from just doing the best, the absolute best that you can in the moment with what you're doing. Yo, I'm telling you, if you don't like your job, your 9 to 5, and it just seems like that job is taking forever, like the minutes turn into hours because it's just so long. You're like, oh, why can't it be lunchtime already? Why can't it be clock out time? You know, time to clock out already.
Yeah.
It's going so slow because you're not operating in whatever I do, I'm going to do my best. Whether people care about it or not, I have a sense of pride in what I do that if someone were to see that, they're not going to question of like, oh, who did this whack job? You know, who left this job left half done? You know what I mean? A half butt job. It's going to be like, wow, this place is either looking immaculate.
Right.
Wow, all the forms have their T's crossed, their I's dotted. Like everything is just so well taken care of. I do not have to take care of this anymore. Like I don't have to dip my fingers in it again. Why? Because he was invested 120%. And when you do that, time flies so fast because you're no longer thinking about the commitment. You're no longer thinking about the time that you're there. You're fully focused on giving everything that you have in the moment. I'll give you guys an example. I was working at this event for Ayana. It was called the Flashlight Egg Hunt. And this is, you know, where kids obviously go around with their flashlights looking for eggs. But in between that, right before that, they have games and stuff in arts and crafts. They have this relay race. That's the section that I was in charge of. And all they do is grab one burlap sack, and then they hop over to the other side, and then they pick up a spoon. They drop the burlap sack. They pick up the spoon with an egg on it, and they have to walk and make sure it doesn't fall all the way to the other side, right? And it's about 8 lanes, so 8 rows of kids all do it at the same time. This is what I mean about operating in excellency. They're just kids. It's a burlap sack race. Who cares? What does it matter? You could easily just say, I'm just there for the paycheck, for the overtime. And you know what? Half of that is right. You know, because if I didn't get paid, I probably wouldn't have been there.
Right.
But now that I'm there, now that I'm overseeing these kids, and it's, you know, it's not like just a one set. It's them coming in and out, multiple different kids, multiple different families. And what I did in the first round, because, you know, there was 2 rounds. The first round is I let them do whatever they wanted. Because, you know, the first group was a lot younger.
Yeah, like 5 and under.
5 and under. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to like force them to all go at the same time. They'll go at their own pace, do their own thing. Me and the other staff members, we'll just watch and make sure no one hurts each other and all that stuff. You know how slow time passed? Because I was like, I got to put everything back because the kids aren't putting it back. They're taking it with them. Like, they're just messing it up. They're starting to break down the little barricades that we set up for them. And it was just like, come on. I was like looking at my watch. I was like hoping that they would be done with it already. You know, ready to start the flashlight egg hunt. And it wouldn't come. It wasn't until the second round where I was like, all right, these group of kids that we're about to get, they're a little older. They're not teenagers or anything, but they're old enough just to understand and to comprehend and to know rules and stuff like that.
Follow directions.
Exactly. So this time I was like, all right, I got my megaphone and for every group of kids that show up, I'm going to tell them to hold on. I'm going to explain to them the rules in a passionate, energizing way. Because, if you talk like, all right, kids, what you're going to do is put on the burlap sack, they're not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
You have to talk with energy, with clarity, and with a little bit of oomph to get their attention.
Yes.
Right? I don't want to yell. I don't want to yell on the podcast because I don't know how it's going to sound on the recording. But you guys it's like, all right, are you guys ready? These are the rules. You're going to put on the burlap sack. You're going to hop all the way, and I would show them with my movements, all the way to the wooden spoon. You're going to drop the sack and do the motion of the dropping of the sack, and then pick up the wooden spoon, and I would rise up pretending to have a spoon, and you're going to walk all the way back. Remember, hop, drop, pick up, walk. Right? And I would make it just like that, right?
Yeah.
And I would get so into it that I love this part because I did this last year too. I would get so into it. The parents would have a good laugh. Other staff members would come and see what the commotion is about. Yeah. And they would just see how much of a good time. The kids, most of them didn't want to leave. They wanted to keep going. But even though they had rules, even though they had strict rules too, as soon as they finished the race, you had to put the spoon back, bring back the sack, And I made it rhyme just like that so they wouldn't forget. And there was at some points where, because it was the same kids, they just did it automatically.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's why? Because I was doing it in a way that I was like, yo, I'm already here. I'm not going to be one of those that are just like, all right, come on, get on with it, get on. No, I'm going to give it everything I got.
Right.
Whether I look crazy, being overly excited for a measly, in the grand scheme of things, not that important, relay race.
Yeah.
Man, but I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it everything I got. And
You're
because
captivating.
of that, I was, And because of that, it felt like it was 10 minutes and it was already time for them to wrap up.
Yeah, exactly. Like time flew because you were having fun.
Exactly. And you know what that gives you at the end of the day? It gives you a sense of fulfillment.
And pride. You did that.
I gave everything.
Yeah.
Like, I know people must be saying, yo, that was a great event. Yo, that part of the event was spot on. I know if the kids went back, they're like, that was so much fun. I can't wait to do it next year.
Exactly.
I know it without them having to say it. Just because of how invested I was in doing that.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that was you operating in your level of excellence because when you're operating in excellence, it's infectious.
Yeah.
Like other people can see it and feel it.
Exactly.
So there's no question of, oh, this guy shouldn't be here right now.
Right. Exactly.
No, he owned it. He owned his whole role. And then he also made people feel that excellence.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's what brings people back. It's what makes people think
that's the memory that they're going to have.
Yeah, exactly. When I see people like that operating like that, I'm talking about when me and Iana go to a restaurant and I see a waiter top tier, they're making sure we're good. They have a great attitude.
It doesn't feel rushed when we're talking to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not only do I feel like, wow, that was great service, great waiter, let's give him a good tip. Not only does that make me say that, but it also inspires and moves me to work in a manner that is going to inspire others.
Yes.
When you put that level of dedication, of intimacy to what you're doing, I mean, you could not be getting paid to do it. I was teaching Sunday school for, 12 years maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe less. Wow. Maybe I would say 7 to 12 years. I can't really remember. But Okay, I'll say it like this. Another one, right? Another story. Church would start, like the classes would start at 10. We didn't have to be there until 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
I would wake up every Sunday at 4 a.m. to get my stuff ready and be at a Starbucks by 5. I would have been there sooner if they opened sooner. So I either got there at 5 or 5:30 because that's when they would open. And then I would plan my week out. I would rehearse the class. I would review it. And then I would go to church at around 8. And I would literally pray for an hour. I would pray over, all the things I usually pray for, my family, myself, everyone that I love. And then, of course, I would pray not just for the class, like to give me the wisdom to impactfully give this message to the kids,
Mm-hmm.
but for each individual child, that he would be protected, that when they came in, they would come in with an attitude to learn.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. And then at 9, I would already be by the trailers, already waiting when we didn't have to be there until 9:30. So that's 5 hours before we even had to be there.
Yeah.
I was already up and going.
Yeah. And filling yourself up so that you can give from your overflow instead of your lack.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because, as soon as those kids come, whether they just wake up or they've been up, mm-hmm. they're coming in with hot energy.
Yes.
And when they hook up with other kids, it's
a wrap.
It's a wrap. They're all going crazy.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you're on top of your game,
mm-hmm.
to capture and captivate their attention.
Yeah.
Because during the class, I was telling Iana this before, you don't want to be fighting to gain their attention. Mm-hmm. You want to be fighting to give them the best message that you can give them.
Right.
Right? You don't want to spend the whole class trying to gain their attention when that's not what it's for.
Yes.
It's to give them the message.
I love it.
And so they understand it,
right.
not just so they hear it.
Right.
So, I would just like I was motivated and hyped up and giving them that energy to give them the rules for the burlap sack race. That's how I was giving them messages. Every little, if I could show motion to that message, I would do it in a big way. Yes. So they would see and be captivated.
Mm-hmm.
And understand this, I wasn't doing this for a paycheck. Mm-hmm. I wasn't doing this for anyone to see me. It's 4 a.m. Who's going to see me?
Yeah.
No one knows that I'm going to be doing this. So why would I do this? I'm doing this because I was literally thinking about how can I be the best teacher that I can be? Mm-hmm. Not the best teacher in the department, mm-hmm. just that I can be. Mm-hmm. Every tool that I have, mm-hmm. every asset that I have, how can I operate in a way that is going to elevate who I am for these kids?
Yes. You know what's so dope? And I love how you said it.
Yeah.
Is you were not comparing yourself to the other people in the department. You were comparing yourself to who you were yesterday.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And that's how every single day you are trying and striving into that operating in that excellence, in that level of excellence.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think a lot of people miss out on the opportunity to operate in that because they don't realize that they can do it too. Or they just don't believe in, I don't know what it is, but there's a level of disconnect that I know people have until they hear, you're doing a great job.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, you didn't need that.
No.
At all.
No.
Because you already saw your results.
Exactly. 1,000%.
In Atomic Habits by James Clear, mm-hmm. he says, be more concerned about your current trajectory instead of your current results.
Yes.
And when you were operating at 4 a.m., at 5 a.m., before 10 a.m., you were already thinking about, okay, what's my trajectory instead of what are my results for this day?
Yeah. Because if I was operating on results, I would have given up. Because at that time when, like the first couple Sundays that I was waking up at 4, I was struggling because I was struggling to be awake at that time.
Yeah.
And so I would almost be too tired when it came time to give class, and the kids would whoop my butt in terms of energy. And so if I was going off of the results, I would have said, this 4 a.m. thing isn't working. And I would have stopped right then and there instead of, like you said, looking at my trajectory. But where is this going to lead me to?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think from my perspective, like I grew up with like such a type A personality, and I've later grown into like a type B mentality, in the sense of it doesn't need to be perfect. I just need to get it done without like losing my mind over it, because I care that much.
Exactly.
And because I actually care, I'm like, okay, I can't, like the adult side of me is like, okay, you have to worry about what do I look like? Who am I representing when I act like this, when I'm doing this, like all this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And that takes me out of that element of childlike senses.
Exactly.
Of
childlike mentality where you're just focused in on the moment.
Yes.
Because I was telling Iana, right? One of the things that when you watch a professional athlete, in a sport, NFL, La Liga, Premier League, whatever sport, and the commentator says, yo, he's doing his thing out there. He's playing just like he would be, as a child. What do they mean by that? It means that they are only focused on what they're doing right now. They're having so much fun because they're not thinking about, are they going to lose? Am I going to make a mistake? When you're a child, you're just thinking about doing what comes natural and in the moment, in this very moment. So you're not operating off of fear. You're not operating off of other thoughts that could be distracting your performance in the moment.
Exactly.
You're only thinking about, okay, where am I going to go with the ball now?
Right.
Ooh, who am I gonna try and juke out right here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not thinking, if I juke, can I juke him out? What do I have to do to juke him out?
Right.
Like, how am I gonna get past him?
All the questions.
Last time I wasn't able to, so will I be able to this time? I don't know. Should I hand the ball off right now or what's up? That's too much, like you're
brain power.
You're taking yourself out of it, and you're just taking yourself out of a flow state.
Yes.
Out of that childlike mentality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And bringing it full circle. So like the reason why you do want to reach that level of like childlike mentality is because when you're questioning yourself, you are focusing your energy internally when you're no longer focusing on the impact.
Beautiful.
And
exactly.
Not just results, but like your impact. Like, how are you touching the other lives that need to be like, feel that spirit, that your gift,
Exactly.
Like you're taking yourself out because you're so focused on your disqualifications when you have every reason to do it because you are who you are.
Exactly.
And that is enough.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Exactly. And one of the things, okay, how do we start operating on excellence? Like, where do I even begin? How do I measure that? How do I know if I'm just being average or if I am trying to be excellent? There's 3 components: skill, attitude, and effort. Skill. What do you know about the task that you're doing right now? All the techniques, all the rules, all the measurements that you're supposed to know before doing what you're supposed to do. What are the procedures, right? And do you have a good grip on how to do it? You know, do you have that skill level? And the beautiful thing about skill is you could always improve on it by learning.
Right.
By researching, right? Either reading books, watching videos, or watching someone in action.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you gain your skill level and practice.
Exactly.
Okay, attitude. What attitude are you going in with?
Mm-hmm.
I think out of all of them, attitude by far is the most important. By far is the most important. You say, no, it's skill. No, it's not. Because why do you see big players on a big game day choke? Because their attitude's off. Not that they're like, I don't want to be here, but it's more like, I don't want to mess up. My name and my reputation is on the line today because everyone's expecting something of me.
Ooh, that is good. Yeah. Did you have one more point?
Yeah, and
good.
But I can go after it because I want you to.
Because so like that hits home because of the responsibility that comes with when you know you're in your flow state and your element.
Yeah.
And you're operating out of a level of excellence. There is a responsibility tied to it that is not talked about enough, in my opinion, because that's why I stopped operating out of my level of excellence because I felt like I couldn't carry that responsibility anymore. And that's what has hindered me from moving forward.
Okay.
And I took myself out of the game because I was like, oh, I'm way too good that I need to stop right now because I can't, my foundation is not solid.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to keep up with other people's expectations because of the bar that I set.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're so good. You're so good. Like it's to the point, this is like hardcore.
Yeah.
It's to the point where if someone were to tell me no, they wouldn't be able to. And how do you correct someone that can't be told no?
Right. No, you can't.
You can't.
You can't.
So then I'm operating out of ignorance at that point or arrogance.
Yeah.
And that is not a learning mentality anymore.
No.
So when you're operating in excellence, you are still a master, but also still a student.
Right.
Because you're able to be corrected and like still learn.
And that's how you
and grow.
Yeah. Even if you think you're a master, you have to think. You have to, honestly, you have to know that you're a student.
Yes.
Because honestly, why are the masters like E.T., you know, when it comes to speaking, Messi when it comes, or Ronaldo, I guess, when it comes to soccer, or Tom Brady, or, you know, all these players, why, or, you know, someone like Denzel Washington.
Yes.
Why are they considered masters? You ask them, hey, are you a master? Nah, bro, I'm a student.
Yes.
I'm learning. Everything that I can do to improve, I'm taking it.
They still have coaches and mentors and people to look up to still learn from.
Come on. Speak
and
on
they're
it.
Still teaching.
Yeah.
That's why they look like a master, because they're teaching. But behind the scenes, exactly.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, they're actually still learning.
Exactly. That's why attitude is so key. Okay. And to bring that, what is that, point home, this Thursday, I had my game, right? And talking about attitude, I made one of the best goals of my life. And it was such a nice goal that I saw it almost in slow motion. I'll put it up for you guys watching on the podcast. Everyone said what a banger of a goal it was. Like, they were literally in awe. When you watch the clip, you'll hear the, oh, you know.
Yes.
And, okay, talking about attitude. I could easily let that affect me going into the next game and say, oh no, okay, I made that shot and it was so nice. Yeah, but now they're going to expect something from me the next time. Like, I can't just go back to not scoring, you know, and just doing whatever. I have to score, and when I score, it's got to be really good, or else, you know, I'm going to lose that, whatever. Bruh, this is when excellency kicks in. Okay. Why do you want it to be operating in excellency? Because one of the benefits is because it gives you a confidence like no other.
Mm-hmm.
Dog, when I train, when I practice, when I weightlift, when I do my sprints, when I do my HIIT exercises, when I do ball training,
right,
I am operating in excellency.
yes.
I'm not waiting to get in the game to be the best that I can be. I do that in training.
Yes.
I do that in my sprints.
It's the prep work.
It's the prep work, bro. Like, before I even come home from work, I'm already thinking, what am I going to do as soon as I get home, get dressed, but what workouts am I going to do today so that on Thursday, I'm ready to rock and roll. Like, I'm already thinking about this stuff. That's why when I get on the field and I take a shot like that,
yes,
it's because I'm confident enough, because I've been operating in excellency. All right, so attitude, right?
Yes.
First was skill level, which was how much of it do you know and how much can you apply?
Yes.
It's one thing to know, but then you have to apply. That's where the skill comes in. You gain that by researching, looking up methodologies, and practice. Practice, practice, practice.
Yes.
Attitude, we just talked about. Probably the most important one is attitude. And then the next one, when it comes to operating in excellency, is effort.
Yes.
How much effort are you going to put into it? They said, who is that? Ray Lewis said, the one thing that you cannot measure is my heart. You can measure all my stats. You can go down my career and see everything that I've done. One thing that you can't measure is my heart. The effort, the intensity that I put in, not just during the games, bruh. Not just when it's game time, not just time when it's time to go into work, before work. What prep work are you doing? Mentally, what state of mind are you going into? What music are you listening to?
Right.
What foods are you eating in breakfast or not eating? Like, what are you listening to on your car ride to work? If you're a parent, if you're a father, if you're a mother, what are you listening to? What are you thinking about? What are you meditating on your way back from work to your family?
Right.
Why do your kids grunt when they see you pulling up?
Ooh.
It's because of what you're letting all that past stuff carry on to you because you're not putting the effort into blocking that off and saying to yourself, all right, I'm tired. I have a terrible day at my job, but I'm going to give everything to my kids right now. Like, they're going to get the best version of myself. I might need to tell them, hey, just give me an hour. Just give me an hour, little man. Let me just shower, like rinse all this off of me. And then I'll give you the best, like we'll have the best time. We'll play, we'll look at your homework, we'll devote a certain amount of time to you. That way, when they've had enough of their fill, now I can focus on me.
Yes.
Right? But it's that effort. You have to put an effort. People don't see the effort. That's why it's not sexy enough for a lot of us to give it a go.
Right.
Like, I mean, come on. The flashlight egg hunt, I could have easily said, like, I'm going to get paid regardless. The kids are going to have fun whether I tell them the rules or not.
Right.
So what's the point? Like, why would I? It's because I know what it would mean to them if someone with high energy did tell them how to do it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
If I gave it my all. Not just thinking of, I probably should do a better job at this. No, just do it. Right? Effort is so key.
Yeah.
Skill, attitude, and effort. That's what you need to grade yourself on, to evaluate yourself on, are you being average? Are you being good? Are you being great? Excellency.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let's go. But all right, Iana. Yeah. Is there anything else on your mind, as we wrap up today's podcast?
I think when you are operating in the level of excellence, my one quick tidbit, when I say my mantra for my accountability groups, it's not every single day because not every single day I go. So recently, whenever I have popped in, part of my mantra, the very first two to three words is grace and mercy flows.
Yeah.
And whenever I do pop up, they always say, oh my gosh, grace and mercy in the building.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it makes me feel so welcomed and so seen.
Yeah.
And that automatic energy just puts me in a state of like, oh, I am grace and mercy.
Yeah.
Like I get to show up in that state of mind. And that automatically puts me on track for like the rest of my day.
Nice.
And for operating in excellence, like whatever you're telling yourself, whatever you're feeding into your spirit, be excellent about it. And know that like you have the power, just like he said about like attitude, you have the power to switch your mind and choose to be different. Even if it takes like 5 minutes in your car before you get out of your car to walk into the building of where you're working or where you're going home. Like if you need to switch it, take the 5 minutes to speak the life into yourself so that you can be the thermometer and not be the thermostat and not the thermometer.
Exactly.
In the room. So that means you set the tone.
Exactly.
Yes.
Let's go. All right. So you can find us on our individual Instagram names. Mine would be under Adonis Barrera and Iana under
Iana.Giselle.
Yep. You can find us on our Too Deep Instagram at the Too Deep Pod. That's TOODEEPPOD. And the same thing with our Facebook, Too Deep Podcast. Just add the CAST. If you're listening and you want to watch us on our YouTube, which is pretty dope looking, if I do say so myself.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be under my name, Adonis Pereira, and then you should find a playlist called the 2D Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope that we really, truly impact your life, at least give you something to think about, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe change one little thing in your life. 1% at a day. Exactly. 1% improvement. Mm-hmm. And we'll be a lot further than we are now.
Yes. In a year's time, you can literally see it probably even in a month.
Oh, so. Definitely. Yeah. But so thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Stay safe, everybody.
Bye.